All right, hello everyone and good afternoon. Welcome to the CRM Dynamics session on Higher Education Blueprint. My name is Jared Teed. I'm the product marketing lead for CRM Dynamics, and thanks for joining us today. Before we begin the webinar, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available afterwards. And to ensure the sound quality is consistent, we have muted all the lines. If you'd like to ask a question, please use the chat or question function on your control panel, and we will make sure to address them at the end of the session. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce our presenter for today, Norm Di Pasquale. Norm has over 20 years of business and operational experience in various technology leadership roles. In the past, he successfully implemented Microsoft CRM in the financial, not-for-profit, and higher education verticals, with well over 15 years of experience with the Dynamics platform. And Norm is also active in the not-for-profit and education community as he sits on the Toronto Catholic School Board as an elected trustee, as well as other charity and grassroots boards. So with that, Norm, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you very much. So let's start off. Let's continue on with the agenda. Thank you for that introduction, Jared. So discuss the Microsoft Dynamics platform. Then I will give you a demonstration of our higher education blueprints live inside of Dynamics, so you can have a look at what the system looks like. And we'll talk about an envisioning workshop, which we can do with you to help you envision what a modern CRM system will look like for your higher education facility. So who we are, our value system is built on value, integrity, and trust. So we help higher education places such as universities manage and recruit new students using a CRM system that gives you a real 360 of your students. We have over 20 years of experience, organizationally wide. We might have over 500 years of experience cumulatively with Dynamics 365. We also offer training. We have won the Impact Award for a project I'm proud to say I have worked on for Booking Portal. We are a top partner in Canada as well as globally. We also have a very mature marketing department that can help you with your digital marketing needs. That might include marketing to alumni, students, things like that. We can have real business discussions with you to talk through your processes and determine how we can make them better, more structured, deliver more value. So as business consultants, we can have these sort of workshops with you to tease out that value. We are Dynamics 365 Gold certified, and our headquarters is physically located in Mississauga, Canada, where in normal times we would all be there and collaborating with each other. A little bit about what Dynamics 365, how it helps universities. So institutions, higher education institutions have to achieve a 360-degree view of a student journey by tracking meaningful touch points as they work with the student from, prospect to student to alumni. I think that having this kind of information about your students really can help you to tailor their experience at your school. What we propose with the Higher Education Blueprint is a system that unifies all student touch points from beginning all the way from recruitment to admission to having timely analytics and information about students as they go through their courses. Potentially intervening if engagement is low or if attendance is low in certain courses. We can give you those alerts so that somebody can engage and ensure that that student stays engaged. Through marketing, which I alluded to, we can help you to manage your alumni. We can keep track of your student skills and potentially match them up with either internal or external jobs from the business community. We can also assist with grant management and things like, in Ontario we have OSAP, which is a student loan system, and ensure that they stay engaged through their entire journey. So, our higher education blueprint is very people-focused, and as we drill down further, it's very student-focused. Everything really is built around the student. The student is the most important thing to any level of education, in fact. So our aim here is to attract, engage, and retain your students. So this is through recording all of the interactions that they've had, whether they be emails where they're asking questions or taking part in events, and starting to track things like their interests in sports and other organizations, perhaps on student council. So just really trying to get all that information that the university is collecting, maybe passively about the student, but getting it into a system where it's all together, where you can get a real 360 of that student. For those who enjoy looking at tables and database slides, here, this one's for you. Some of the only things I'd like to really highlight here is really the student is the center of the system, and we can integrate with your student information system. One such example of the system is PeopleSoft Student Information System. But if you add a new student in that student information software, we can have it so that it immediately and automatically comes over to Dynamics, as well as other information like the courses they're taking. So nobody has to double up that data entry. You enter it once in your kind of gold core system, and it comes over to Dynamics, where you can attach other things that the student is doing with you. Let's move on to the demonstration. So the first thing that you're going to see when you load up our education blueprint, you're going to land on a dashboard. Now, what does the dashboard do? The dashboard's purpose is to really highlight insights that can help you to direct the work that you're going to do today. So I am seeing, for instance, the students, how many courses they have, passed, failed, and dropped. And if I start seeing a lot in the fail bucket, I might want to further investigate that. So, these dashboards are interactive, so you can just click and drill through. So we can see who the student is, for instance. So for all these past courses that I see in my dashboard, they're all related to Abby Smith, a student that you're going to meet shortly. So you can actually drill into the dashboard to pull out other information from within the dashboard. So we scroll down, there's information about how many are working and how many are athletes. And then at the bottom, we're seeing engagement, which are basically requests that come in from students. And you're seeing the ones that are assigned to me. I can see how long they've been open, what their priority is, and this can give me some insight on the work I might want to do today. These dashboards are fully customizable to your university or higher education site's needs. And this is just one of the examples of something we can customize for the information that you need to highlight for the people working at your university. We head over to contacts. We are going to meet the example student of the day, and her name is Abby Smith. So when I head over to contacts and open Abby Smith, what I'm met with is a contact form. Now this contact form, it really is the beginning of what we like to term a student 360. Gives us all the information we need to know about that student. So first of all, we're seeing their demographic information, how to contact them, where they live. And then we start seeing more education-focused information like their current academic period, what program they're in, what program level that is. For instance, this is a Bachelor of Science. And then whether they're a current student, a prospective student, or alumni. As we scroll down, what we see here is a history of interactions that we've had with the student. So this is showing a case that we closed where she was looking for mental health assistance, and we've connected her to a student mental health practitioner. This is good information if somebody is just interacting with Abby Smith for the first time. Then we see some emails that were attached to Abby Smith from Abby that give you kind of further insight into who Abby Smith is. So here we have an email saying that she's struggling with classes and looking for counseling. And then a second email asking about assistance with travel to get to a hockey tournament that she's taking part in. So just some good information. So when Abby calls you, you can double click, open this record, and you can see all of the interactions that you've had recently with Abby. I can also see her course load here. So in 2020 and 2021 fall term, she's enrolled for 5 courses. And in the previous year, she was enrolled in 7 courses. And again, this is another chart that I can click to drill into further if I want to get more information about the courses. As we scroll through, so this is all within this tab, and there are multiple tabs that contain different information that you can click on to see more. So let's click on the academics tab. So here we can see that she was in school in the 2019-2020 fall term and then the 2020-2021 fall term. And then some of those same things like her credit load, the program, what year of her program she's currently in, and her GPA and things like that. And then if we look down just a bit, we have the course history. So we can look through a history of all of the courses she's attended and what the result was. So was it a pass, a fail, or did she drop it? So just trying to highlight a lot of academic information, kind of at a high level to keep feeding you that Student 360. As we move into extracurricular, we'll see that Abby is a goalie for the Virtual University's hockey team. And she's also on the Virtual University Student Union as a treasurer. And we get an idea of when the start and end dates are for those extracurricular activities she's doing. So this one for the treasurer is likely an election that lasts for a year. And then we can also see her area of study, which is Bachelor of Science, being a degree program and required credits, and the GPA that's required for that Bachelor of Science. As we move forward, we look into engagement. So if Abby reaches out and requires assistance of any kind, you can track how that request is navigating through your system using engagements. So for instance, we can open one up just to have a quick peek. So this is actually the rich case management inside of Dynamics 365. So this one here shows that she's had stress caused by COVID-19, and the next step is scheduling a CBT therapy session. So once I've completed this case, I can close the case by hitting resolve case, and then I know that I have dealt with that request, hopefully to her satisfaction. And in this way, you can track to see whether or not student requests are being dealt with, or whether they're just, you really can get a good feel for how student requests are flowing through your system, how much time they take, how many are open, what's the priority level. And this is the kind of information that you need, I think, to structure the support services that you offer to students. Moving on and continuing to feed you that Student 360, we can see the events that Abby has attended. So she's been to an orientation social, and we can see when that was, and she actually attended a study abroad with us session where we discuss, potentially going to university across the ocean to continue her studies. So we can get a good feel for the events that she's attended. You can store these events within Dynamics, or they could live in something like Eventbrite, and we can pull them over into the system for you to try to cut down on that double data entry that you might have to do otherwise. So that in a nutshell is a very student-centric 360 that we try to deliver through the higher education blueprint. Some other things I want to show is how Dynamics 365 and the education blueprint connect seamlessly to Outlook. So I have a request here that's come in from Abby asking about a COVID-19 question. So will my studies in the upcoming year take place online or in person? So I want to track this. I'm in Outlook right now, and this works through Outlook on your desktop, Outlook on the web, or even Outlook on your phone. So I've received this email from Abby, and I want to track it to Dynamics so that I can ensure that the request gets actioned. So I'm just going to click on the three dots here. In Outlook, it's actually a button near the top, and click Dynamics 365. And because it recognizes the email address, it's actually pulled up the contact record for Abby Smith, which is extremely useful if somebody is interacting with Abby for the first time. I can see things like her contact information and then previous cases that that Abby opened with us, or previous kind of requests. So this kind of gives me without ever meeting Abby, this gives me some information about Abby so that I get to know her a little bit before I start to interact. So I'm going to actually create a case out of this so that I ensure that somebody looks at this email and responds to it accordingly. So I'm just going to go new record and a case, and I'm still in Outlook, keep in mind, and now I'm creating a case inside of Dynamics. I can then assign that case, let's say, to a caseworker at my higher education institution, or I can just go ahead and save and close. If I go to view the record, I can actually see the case and then see that this email is attached to that case. So if somebody else is working on it, they can take a look at the email and get a feel for what the request actually is. So there's the email actually attached, which I can also open. And if somebody else is working on this who isn't me, that case gives them useful context to work on this request. So that is an example of how Outlook and Dynamics 365 are connected to each other. You can also, what benefit does this bring? Folks who are used to working Outlook can kind of stay within that system to some extent. And then you can track back things like emails, appointments, and tasks back to Dynamics with the push of a button, so that you don't need to do double data entry. It's the Outlook component. Then I just wanted to demonstrate that this is a Microsoft product, and as such, it has things built into it that you would expect from Microsoft, like being able to edit records that you see in Excel rather than using Dynamics. So I'm looking at Abby Smith as an active student. I can click on Open in Excel Online. And this will take me to Excel Online, where I can actually make modifications and save them back to the system. So you can imagine if you have to edit multiple records and you're making, let's say, the same change to it, you could just copy paste on, let's say, 100 records and hit save in an Excel environment that you're used to and is friendly and comfortable to you. And then I'll just mention, this is very student focused, as I mentioned, so you'd be largely working within contacts. But you might want to go ahead and enter in new events and enter in new event registrations. You can either use a tool like Dynamics 365 Marketing to plug into this, which can help you manage events, or you can use an event tool you're already using, like Eventbrite. And we can integrate that into here so that anything you enter into Eventbrite copies back to here, so you don't need to do that double data entry again. I think that wraps up what I wanted to show in the demonstration. So just run through a couple other kind of nice features that you can add on to this blueprint. So I did show an example of a dashboard. We can integrate Dynamics with Power BI to give you really rich, interactive looking dashboards like these. They can highlight things like this, or they can highlight map-based data, and we can make that into your dashboard, like the first thing you see when you log into the system. So there's very, very powerful dashboarding and charts and queries that we can build using Power BI and integrate into Dynamics. Dynamics 365 and the work that we do, it's all built using the Power Platform. So I was mentioning Power BI, which we can integrate directly into Dynamics, and it can leverage information from Dynamics and even your student information system and bring that together. Power Apps is the development platform that we use to build this blueprint. You can use Power Automate to build workflows that will make your workflows more efficient. For instance, if a new student goes into the system, you can schedule automated follow-ups with let's say a student engagement rep. Let's say in 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months, for instance, we can use Power Automate to do that kind of work. And I will touch on Power Virtual Agents, which is an intelligent web-based chat solution. But these things all can do a common data service, which is Microsoft's common database, so that you're not, you don't have latency from connecting to all kinds of different data sources. It's all within one seamless system. Some other add-ons we could give you are things like a student self-serve portal. You can kind of imagine what students might do in a portal like this. They might book appointments with faculty or with other types of supports. They might register for events. They might ask for tax receipts here. They might even, quite logically, they might go in here to view their grades if that's some type of information you want to show in the portal. And of course, they can see the status of their requests. We can, of course, assist with marketing. We can build powerful marketing journeys for your students and your prospects. So if they show interest, if they click on a certain part of their email, we can take them through, even a 6-month drip campaign where every couple of months we're showing them something, or we have a task for a salesperson to follow up if they click on something. So, you tell us, and we can work with you to build a powerful and effective marketing journey that make sure that more of your prospects turn into students and that more of your alumni turn back into students. That can include things like event management, as I mentioned, and other functions. Here's that event management. So Dynamics 365 marketing can be plugged into this blueprint to give you powerful event management, including a portal for students to go in and see event information and register, which will give them a QR code which they can scan. And you can scan that QR code to confirm that they attend, and that all goes right back into the system. Virtual agents is another feature we can give. When people think of chat, you often will think that there's another person on the other end responding to student questions, but we can leverage powerful AI to, first of all, collect all of the typical student questions, and then have a bot respond to those typical questions. Like, I want to book an appointment. What kind of appointment would you like to book? Academic appointment. And you can call such and such a number, or you can click here to book, and that takes you right to the portal where you can book that appointment. And this didn't need an interaction of a service person on the university side. This can answer questions like, can I meet with a professor? How do I get a tax receipt? And really free up your service department to tackle more high-value items than what are the typical questions that many students tend to ask. Integration. So we can of course integrate, as I mentioned, with your student information system, and we can integrate with accounting systems. We can integrate with Dynamics self-serve portal, or we can build a portal or leverage your existing portal. We are very, very good at integration. If that hasn't been made clear with what I've had to say, you can also spit out Word templates from students, including typical letters that you might send a student during the year that leverages data that's already in the system, and so that it cuts down on the letter writing that your staff has to do. And as I previously alluded to, you can use workflows for reminders to ensure that people are following up with students, either with cases that are stale or with requests from prospects, and any sort of workflow like that. We can schedule those, and it can be by email, or it can even be to a text to your phone. And I did demonstrate that you can very easily export to Excel, either online or the Excel desktop solution, to work with things in Dynamics as it's a Microsoft product. We can deliver, if you're interested, an envisioning workshop for your higher education institution. So we can meet with you and run an envisioning workshop where we brainstorm together, and we talk through your university's processes using design-led thinking concepts, and jointly discover and define how to enable your digital transformation. You might have processes that are causing you pain that we can talk through and we can make simpler with reminders and automation, and bringing in data that's already in Dynamics to help kind of guide what the next step is. So this one-day briefing starts with a review of your business objectives, followed by discovery and visualizing solutions, ending with a clear picture of how we can help you reach your university's goals. Some examples of which might be digital student enrollment. In this age of COVID-19, that's become a necessity. Enabling always-on student support through the virtual agent I spoke about just earlier. Helping you to visualize the entire student journey and then build in touch points and automations and things to further that student engagement. Automating student and alumni communications. Your alumni can be a powerful force if you engage them and activate them. And then, generating value through proactive insights that we deliver through Power BI and through dashboards and information like that to help really enable your key decision makers to make the right decisions to move your university forward. At this point, I would like to say thank you, everybody, for their time, and open it up to any questions. Jared, I don't know if you've collected any at this point, but
Norm, throughout the presentation, you just seem to knock them off one by one. So it sounds like all the questions that were posed were answered. So great job in terms of that. And just a reminder, you can reach us at crmdynamics.com or reach out directly at experts@crmdynamics.com. And if you're interested in an envisioning workshop, we can also discuss opportunities with that. But thank you, everyone, for joining our webinar today. And thanks so much, Norm, for taking us through that content.
it was my pleasure speaking to you today.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.